to the best of your knowledge, when did Crips and Bloods pop up in Kansas City?
My knowledge, at least about 1980s that I know for sure. Like as far as Kansas City, Kansas, I know banging red and blue probably since 1980 for sure.
When did you first get put on?
Well, it happened. I mean, you know, my block used to be Bloods and stuff, so I had a best friend, man. He was super Bloods. He was a pyro, you know what I'm saying, doing his little thing. So some kind of way, man, he got into it with the Crips. He got into it with some Hoovers from Kansas City, you know what I'm saying? And basically they came to the park, man. They came and basically they wanted to fight. But I guess he ran. So he left me down there, you know what I'm saying, with all the Crips. And my mama, boy, she didn't want me to kick with him no more. So that's how I went to Cali. So I ended up going to Paliato. I end up going to Paliato, California, and I met this dude, you know what I'm saying, named GHEZZ LOC. And he used to always talk about the 60s and the 60s and the 60s and the 60s. So when I went back to Kansas City, I just, you know, jumped back like, fuck it, it's 60s, you know what I'm saying? I ain't fucking with the blood niggas no more. I ain't, you know what I'm saying? Because my whole block is Bloods, because in Kansas City, we represent numbers. So it's like 5, 6, 7, whatever street you from. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm from the 5th Street, so, you know, I rep with all the 5th Street niggas represent. So basically, make a long story short, I went to prisons, and that's really how I got put on. You know what I'm saying? Officially got put on Crips. But I've been fucking with the R0LLN 6Os since 1993.
Talk to me about what it's like being a Crip in prison.
See, you know, you talking to the GHEZZ LOC, so you know what I'm saying. With me, I got an extravagant lifestyle, but to make a long story short on that too, that's how I really got put on. So my first day when I was in the joint, the nigga that was the Crip card for R0LLN 6Os, his name was Bug Low. He got punked by a fag named D France. So my first day in there, he talking this R0LLN 60, this, that. You know, it's all this. I'm the big homie, this, that. As soon as we talking like in live time, like we talking there, here come this homie shoe with lipstick on, with the roller set, this, that, shirt tied up. Boy talking shit to the homie, and the homie running the cell. And basically like, boy, when I go get my shank, he from 6O Crip, Bug Low. You know what I'm saying? He go get his shank, and he like, by the time I come back down here, bitch ass nigga, if you in this motherfucker, nigga, I'm fucking your ass up, man.
Damn.
And so the fag goes back, and the fag go get his shank, cuz I'm running the cell. So you know, you see that shit on TV, and you be saying that shit. You be like, man, what the fuck? When you seen it in real life, you like, no, fight. Well, like, yeah, that's what I thought. So basically, make a long story short, my homeboy running the cell. I mean, the nigga who was running the 60 car, the fag lady running the cell. So I never seen nothing like that. I'm like, cuz I'm 6'0". None of my homies go out like that. I don't know what you from. So I persuaded cuz to come out the cell. He's just like, man, you don't know, man. Cuz is a killer, man. You don't know. I only got like 2 months left, man. So man, I'm trying to get out of here. And while you was talking shit to him, if you know what I'm saying, woo, woo, woo. But to make a long story short, man, about 2 months after that, man, I got put on, man, up in a weight room. We got a little bathroom back in the back. You know what I'm saying? I got put on. You know what I'm saying? By my nigga Jazz, my nigga Corn, my nigga Pickle Low. Niggas around here with the Bay. Niggas down here with all the niggas from Bay and Oakland. So niggas Bay and Cali from Kansas City, they kick it like that. See, Kansas down here, where we at, Crip is just Crip. So where we at, I'm saying before Ned and before Snoop and all these niggas was talking about the left side, I already been in the Cali already doing this. In Kansas down here, they used to have they rags in their right pocket and the Bloods had they shit in their left pocket. And they just switched it up. So now Hoovers know about neighborhoods and shit like that, but for the majority down here, store up Crip. You know what I'm saying? Just store up the city. So it's like a gang of niggas, but it's like Crip. Crip is not like, I don't like you because you wearing orange and you Crip. Now down here it's just Crip is Crip. So we don't get it. But get it from Cali, when he coming with neighborhood or he coming with Hoover, this, and he stand out like that, then yeah, they bang it. But as far as right here, they ain't doing it. But it's Cali niggas that's in Kansas City that do their thing. So yeah, people know they lit.
Do you guys have a big Latino gang presence out there?
Yeah, we got the F-13s, we got the C-13s. Well, we got motherfucking, what else they got out here? They got folks, the SDs. Yep, Spanish Disciples. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, they out here, the essays, they don't play no games out here. Them motherfuckers, and they get a lot of money.
Oh,
so
word.
They get a lot. And they're back and but they over here they don't hate on black people. So out here they ain't like no gang where they don't be like trying to kill you. Like in Kansas City, they down with you. They want to be black and shit. Yeah, it's like that.
Damn.
Like I can just pull up to the essays hood on flat and they gonna fix my shit. They ain't gonna be like, get the fuck out of here from the third, none of that shit.
Who are some of the other gangs out there, like, you know, that we would recognize out here from LA? Like, I know you.
They got IVC, they got some R0LLN, they got some Kitchen Cribs. They got some it's hella Hoovers. Those Hoover, 3-1 Hoover. They got all those Hoover. They got 5 deuce Hoover. They got 7-4. And shit, rest of the niggas, like the niggas' neighborhood, it's very like discreet because for the simple fact you got to be connected to the Westboard Coast. So I got my, you know what I'm saying, my cousins, you know what I'm saying, shit, you know what I'm saying, baby hey, you know what I'm saying, Lil hey, you know what I'm saying, Fatuma Brains, you know what I'm saying, shit. I got just hella people, you know what I'm saying, shit, Baby Terrible, Tiny Terrible. Hella motherfuckers that's, you know what I'm saying, that I know, you know what I'm saying, from the hood. I've been in Cali. So I didn't actually been in Cali with the homies too. But that's the first time when I went to Palayato, that's when I just knew about cuz, you know, in general. Then I went back again, but next time I went back, I was kicking it in Bakersfield, fucking around on P Street, fucking around with the locks in the alley.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm official when it comes to, you know what I'm saying, local, like, yeah, like, can some niggas from Cali, boy, vouch for, you know, nah, I ain't one of them Kansas City niggas like, nah, you ain't been a Cali type, nah, because you ain't real. You can't be claiming nothing from some other boy state and you're not even real. You over here trying to push something. That wouldn't be right, you know what I'm saying?
Take yourself back to April 2019. You know, we woke up to hear that Nipsey Hussle was murdered. How did that affect Kansas City?
Because the hood, all my niggas is, you know, obviously we Facebook friends and different shit. And, you know, I was at work. So, you know, on the side, you know, I'm saying I paint too. So I'm painting or whatever. And everybody like Nipsey, you know what I'm saying? But this is the thing about it. When you speaking about some, once again, if you're not from there, you can't be talking about firsthand like when you talking to me. I'm about 60, so obviously I didn't got into it with at least 10 or 12 people due to the fact of coming with speculations and allegations that they don't know nothing what the fuck they talking about, but they trying to talk about some real shit and about some gang shit, about some shit that I know firsthand because the homies already called me. They already told me, you know what I'm saying? What's up? You know what I'm saying? So that's the first and foremost. And then, like I said, I ain't got to tell these stupid nerd niggas that ain't tapped in and nothing, and they don't know nothing about that. But when Nipsey Hussle that shit happened, I deleted a lot of niggas. They talking about Dr. Sunday, they talking about this, they talking about this, they talking about this. Obviously, if you see that, ain't nobody gonna come back and kick you in the motherfucking head. It ain't got nothing to do with that, no
Ugh.
speculation. That's to do something with some hater shit. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, for me to be speaking on something, then you to be speaking on something. Nigga, we all the way in Kansas City. What the fuck you talking about Crenshaw? Nigga, ain't no Crenshaw, man. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? So of course that hurt. My first tattoo was rolling 6s on my hand. You know what I'm saying? For my nigga Tom Dollar, he dead now. You know what I'm saying? But that was my first tattoo. I didn't get no my mama tatted on me, my daddy, my cousin, my name tatted on me, nothing. I got 6 on with the dollar sign,
Mm.
rolling 6. You know what I'm saying? We pushing a hard line. So to actually be saying that and to be talking about that and be doing that, of course you're going to be affected because see, cuz is pushing a little harder than everybody, but he the little homie. Obviously, you the big homie. You
Mm.
know what I'm saying? It's Eric Khan, niggas like that. But this nigga right here, you know what I'm saying? He was the epitome of what niggas is trying to be, was showing up in your face
Yep.
and about and push the line in your face and showing you that you can do it. But doing it as a replicable, not a coward, not a snitch, and doing it right in your face, the same place where he hated until you get out. We done brought the whole thing down where the pulling up the phone and doing shit, and then just doing shit, you know what I'm saying? We're not trying to just overdo shit, but just, you know, if you're not from there, like, you don't understand, that's just how it is there, you know what I'm saying? So if you're looking on the big screen, you seeing this, of course you got speculation. And then he went into as far as a sex symbol, when you start doing this shit and modeling and getting this shit out of, so you know you got hella business. So
Mm-hmm.
of course everybody's going to be affected by that. But yeah, that's one that we still can't swallow. So we always gonna push them. We always gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Regardless, that's off the top. 6
But shit, keeping it on hip hop, and I know you make music yourself, and I want to definitely give you a chance to talk about that also. But we lost Pop Smoke out here. In your opinion, how should someone with gang ties move from city to city?
I mean, it depending on where you at and depending on who you affiliated with. Like my bro over here, he's GD. You know what I'm saying? So when they got to do with growth and development and stuff like that, there's certain places where you can't go and you can't do because once again, if you speaking that and you saying that and you ain't tapped in, that's just like me. You going in, you trying to do a show, obviously in the hood, you on 10th Ave, you on 8th Ave, you somewhere and you screaming this stuff and you really ain't with that and can't nobody vouch for you. Obviously, you need to pay your dues. So if you come into Kansas City and you ain't tapped in with nobody, obviously you can't come in on the 5th block and think you about to be twerking and doing something. So yeah, especially when you're affiliated with something, yeah, you really need to tap in with guys before you start moving around in different states to state.
Your opinion on Tekashi 6ix9ine?
Woo, weirdo. Hey, this one right here, it's funny, but it's real. I mean, because like I said, man, where I'm from, we super Crips. So just my little polo sign on my shirt is too much red with my homie farm logo. So Tekashi 6ix9ine and his shit that he's talking about, I mean, it's funny because, I mean, everybody already kind of like knew it, but they're not understanding, like, as far as me being in jail and being on the federal system like that, that's not giving props to the people who really knocking times out, like Big Meats and people like that who really doing time and knocking it out, Larry Hoover, people like that, you know what I'm saying, to be this clown coming out, and then the U.S. government fund him again to say snitching is cool and to defy all odds, and then to do that. So any clown that fuck with him is a clown. Even if you, I mean, if it could pop up like a pop up, and you see the shit on YouTube, you need to pop up and pop that shit back out, because you cannot be, you know, glamorizing snitching or glamorizing any fuck shit. Because think about the kids is growing up. You think this rainbow color hair motherfucker give a fuck about our kids?
How responsible are the gang for letting them get that close to them?
They ain't responsible because before you were snitch, you all in. So how was I know you were supposed to cooperate with the U.S. government?
Okay.
As far as we know, Super Blood, Tekashi 6ix9ine, Treyway. As far as everybody knew, you was doing what you do. But the real everybody who's solid in the game, man, knowing you was gonna get your top blew off, something was gonna happen. And you was the first mother get a snitch.
Yep.
Tekashi 6ix9ine. And then that's it. And then you don't have no problem. It's like, when you do some stuff and it's all bad, you should have some problems. But he has no kind of remorse, no kind of nothing.
Nah.
But he was cooperating with him, and he was doing these things. It would be totally different if it was like, oh, your sister got killed, and some stuff happened, and you just seen what happened. Totally different. Motherfucker, when you was selling dope, beating motherfuckers, talking about this Zulu and all this old fun shit, and 20 niggas in the courtroom, and you just talking, you cooperate with the government, you a snitch, and all snitches get stitches, and that's on 6-0 clip, cuz.
What are your thoughts specifically on rappers who join gangs after they become famous? You know, Lil Wayne's, Chris Brown's.
It already depends. Now, Chris Brown, he paid his way, but it all depends on how old you are. Because it all depends on, because there's levels to this shit. Like I said, 93 is a long time to be talking about some cripping and fucking 20, and I'm still cripping. That's a total difference. Now, these motherfuckers who get in, they young, because some of these guys are young, 19, 17, 18. I mean, if that's how you get in, but if you get in, because all the time, let me rephrase this, all the time you don't have to get jumped in. See, because that's a lot. And this is the true fact. Every nigga that's 6-0 Crip, Cali, I don't give a fuck, New York, whatever, did not get blessed in the game. Why? Because some niggas just grew up in the house on the block where the Crips at, and I just grew up like this, and it is what it is. Never had to get jumped in because you are strictly from the sword. Never had to get put in on nothing. Never had to get jumped in on nothing because you was always with it from the time it started to now. So anybody trying to test your cripping is fake because you was here when cripping started. You know?
Thank you for tuning in to DustyVisionTV. Please hit that like button if you have not already. And if this is your first time joining the channel and you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, you just might appreciate this bonus clip I'm about to play for you right now. All right, Ali, I know you had something specific on your mind that you wanted to discuss today. Go for it, man.
So I was just looking through my news feed on my tablet, and I've seen like the Kansas City story so many times, man. And it's just, the more information that comes out, the more it's just making me shake my head like, no, wow. You know, to see two young lives that are going to end up in prison for a very, very long time. And then the DJ who was killed, losing her life. And then 20 plus victims, and most of them children. It just, I mean, the gun violence is out of control. And I don't know what we can do about it. You know, it's just, it makes my heart ache to read these stories and see these stories on the news. You know.
Yeah, it's a sad situation, and this is coming from someone yourself who grew up in the late 80s, 90s. You know, of course, it was really bad. I mean, it was really bad, but it didn't seem like there was this type of bad, if that makes sense, where just 22 innocent people get shot. Is this safe to say that? I may be speaking out of turn. Please, let me know. Correct me if I'm wrong. What was it? Was it comparable to the 80s and 90s? Is it worse? Not as worse? What or different type of worse? What do you think?
I mean, the difference is the mass shootings, the number of people getting shot and killed in one incident. I don't remember it being like that when I was a kid growing up, and even when I was involved in a criminal and gang lifestyle. 40 people getting shot at once and killed, and 30 people, 20 people, and then in the suburbs, most of the gun violence that I experienced was concentrated in South LA and parts of Long Beach and Compton, and it was in the hood. Now it's in the suburbs. It's in your Walmart. It's in your Target. It's at your Super Bowl rally. Like I don't remember seeing that when I was a kid. And it's like back then, I knew multiple people, numerous people who had been shot multiple times. You know what I mean? Some shot 4, 5, 6 times in one incident, and then others who were shot, 3, 4, 5, 6 times over their lifetime, in different incidents and survived. People now, it seems like they're getting shot with such high-powered artillery and ammunition that they're not surviving. As a young person growing up in South Central LA and throughout the LA area, I mean, I remember seeing people get popped, several times in one incident or several times over the course of their lifetime and living through it, living to tell about it. Now I'm not seeing that. It's like people get hit once, twice, and they're no longer here. It's like what is out there in the streets? What are in the hands of these young people that's just, leaving people mowed down like this? I mean, is making me scratch my head like, wow.
Another thing you gotta look at this in the 80s. In the 80s, when what's my big dog name? Ronald Reagan, when he was in office, you know who the vice president was, right?
Bush, right?
George Bush daddy, the daddy.
That's right. George
right?
W, yeah.
Right.
George
You
H,
know what else?
Yeah.
You know what else he was when he was there? When he was in office? He was the head of the CIA.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was the director of the Central Intelligence Agency. Right? Keep in mind, we got the Panama Canal.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The only way dope can get into it through America is through the Panama Canal. It's just coming from Colombia. Because remember, we weren't going to Mexico back then.
That's right.
The Guadalajara cartel wasn't fucking with America. Not yet. Yeah, we weren't in up debt yet. Right? So you got to. So it's coming from Colombia. That's from Pablo and all them popping, and it's coming through the Panama Canal. And if I can show what comes through the Panama Canal, when I call you and tell you, nigga, don't touch this boat, nigga, don't touch
the boat.
When I call you and tell you, okay, raid this boat, you gonna raid this boat. Live, 7 ABC News, we live at the Panama Canal today. How the fuck y'all get way down there live? we have recovered 1,700 kilos of cocaine, 5 tons of heroin. And first of all, how the fuck did y'all get to Panama, which is a man-made country, that goddamn fast? And how is this shit live?
Live, dog.
Right? The government again, bro.
Yeah. There's a lot of string pulling going on that we don't know about, man.
Oh, man. A lot of string pulling. Come on, a lot of string pulling, man.
Yep.
A lot of string pulling, man.
Yeah.
And people know what they was doing, man. Yeah, we can get deep, man.
Before we go, I want to ask you, for maybe a few minutes, take as long time as you want, but I want you to give some words of advice to these youngins out here who are just acting a fool out there in the street with these switches and, just shooting, and all the drugs they're doing and everything like that. Just talk to them about where it could lead them, where it will most likely lead them.
Oh, it's only gonna lead you two places: death or in jail. If you don't end up dead and you end up in jail, lay in the bed you made for yourself, bro. Because you made this bed for yourself. You wanted to be here. This is the life that you chose, and this is what comes with the life. There's no retirement program in this. So if you don't want to get your life together, stay in life. If you want to get your life together, get your life together. Because at the same time, while you staying in life, if you have family members that love you and that don't want to see you in their life, you're being selfish towards them. You know, another thing you need to do is probably get some physical, spiritual, and mental balance. We all need balance in our life, even as young men. But we don't have no balance. This is the reason we go astray and do things and commit heinous crimes, and we can be somebody totally different, doing something totally different with our time. Our lack of balance, our lack of understanding, our lack of knowledge. So you don't have to sit down and bury yourself. The next thing I advise you to do is pray. You need to pray in and out. Pray for forgiveness. Pray for patience. Pray for your anger. Pray for your substance abuses if you got them. Just pray. You got to give your life over to a higher power than you, man. Because if you don't get your life together, they're gonna stick you somewhere so far, bro, for so long. And they building more. They're not gonna stop building. They're just gonna keep building them and keep stuffing you with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you keep getting away and getting caught, 2 years here, 3 years here, 4 years here, you're doing life on an installment plan. Because every time you get out, you got to start back over.
Damn, deep installment plan.
You know what I'm telling you? So yeah, man, y'all, please, man, pray, man, and believe in something, man, and just see that some of that shit senseless, man. Like I said, man, I can't really give you too much or appreciate y'all too much because I've been in the lifestyle before. But man, listen, take it from me, man. They gonna send you somewhere for.
Damn.
Gonna have you reading your mail. Gonna have you reading your mail on the screen.
Appreciate you, Meech. This won't be the last time. This won't be the last time you guys hear Meech on the program. Do you have any shout outs or anything you want to give, man? Anything you want to promote? I mean, the floor is yours if you do. If not, it's all good.
I want to promote Demeanor Daycare. We have a daycare on 150th, 1047 East, 150th in Compton, California. Also, we got watermelons coming this summer on 2105 West Compton Boulevard. So, man, if you want to see the watermelons or fresh water juice, man, pull up. I'll talk to you about mental health. I do mentorship. Me and my wife do mentorship, man. So, hey, man, it's all for us, man, by the grace of God. You can pull up, man. Come get you a blessing, man. We do what we can do for you.
I love that, dog. I love that, man. Hey, it's been a pleasure, Meech. I'll definitely be in touch, all right?
All right. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you very much, man.
All
Talk
right.
to you soon. Peace, dog. A Long Beach shooting leaves 1 unalived and 2 wounded. This was in the area surrounding the Marathon Burgers opening in Long Beach. Now, several of the people who were there, who were involved, have already came out and given their accounts on what happened. It's all over the internet right now. And the general consensus is it was over gang beef. The main story I'm hearing is someone from a certain set who rocks blue was acting a fool inside the store, banging on his enemies who were also in attendance. That led to a confrontation outside with several people, which resulted in the unfortunate situation that we're discussing right now. We have another one, Lonzo. I would love your thoughts on this, man. What were your thoughts when you first read this?
First thought was, damn, we can't have shit. This is exactly what I've said many times on our podcast in WH Trades with Lonzo. And as a club owner, an event promoter for over 50 years, I've been doing this for a long time. And it's this attitude that keeps us from progressing in our own community. What do I mean by that? You got a brand new business, and somebody's personal attitude against a rival ruins it for everybody. This can make the city of Long Beach reconsider allowing this business to open. If this is the kind of activity that's going to take place over there, why do we want that in our city? Long Beach is an Olympic city. Long Beach, Inglewood, downtown LA, these are all Olympic cities. And they don't need they don't need the negative attention. They don't care about your personal beef. When you look at when you're the business owner, this could raise your insurance rates, will make your hamburgers $45 a piece. So when you think about the overall ramifications of this type of activity, one guy decided that his beef with somebody was more important than the community having a new business brought by a community hero and his family to try and continue his legacy. That one person, I'm gonna call him a hater. Because you don't have enough self-restraint to forego your own personal feelings, and you want to be the man or prove yourself in front of the fellas or whatever the case may be, and you hated on the Marathon Burgers to the degree that you'd rather have them closed down than to forego your personal beef. Bottom line. And that's a hater move all day long. Man. And it's just this is the exact reason why there is no bowling alleys, there is no nightclubs, there is no skating rinks inside the community, because these attitudes reign regularly throughout the community, and people don't have time, money, or the resources to keep fighting this stuff. I'll just turn it into a doggone laundromat. I'll turn it into a Home Depot. I'll turn this building into something else other that's going to attract this kind of attitude. All these certain groups have this attitude. Let's keep it 100. I don't care whether it's economics, social economics, or father not being in the home. Bottom line, only certain groups have this attitude, and unfortunately, we are part of one of those groups, and this attitude travels. It can, it may have a hood, but it has a car also, or a bus pass, and it travels and brings problems everywhere it goes. That's why World on Wheels shut down. This is why Cerrito Skate Ring shut down. This is why so many venues have caught hell surviving, because once this happens, all the eyes are no longer on the success of the business or the good food that may be served. So now the eyes become focused on the safety of the venue. And if people don't feel safe, they're gonna stay home. If people don't feel safe, they're not gonna let their kids go. If people don't feel safe, they can't support that. They'll spend most of their money on DoorDash or Grubhub because they don't want to go and sit there and take a chance on getting shot. Same thing happened over at Roscoe's on Manchester, Maine. It's known now when PB got shot a few years ago. All of a sudden, PB Rock got shot. All of a sudden, bam! That spot. People get shot over there. They kill the niggas over there. I ain't going over there. They're going to one on Manchester by the freeway. They're going to one in Long Beach. They ain't going over there because they got a reputation. And that's not good for business, man. A restaurant should be known for its food, not for its murders.
One of my boys said that's why he joined the Crips, was because the Bloods were doing stuff to innocent civilians and cutting them and things like that. And he was like, man, I ain't messing with those dudes. So that's exactly why he joined the Crips, man. Yeah.
Yeah. And listen, don't get it twisted now. Don't get it twisted. Like, I don't know the inner workings of the Bloods and Crips, but I do know there was a lot of Crips that turned into Bloods just because the Bloods had the overwhelming numbers. Now, I personally don't even know if you're supposed to be able to do that. But I definitely know, I know personal stories of people who used to be Crips that got ran down on by the Bloods, and they wound up becoming Bloods thereafter. You know what I'm saying? So the Bloods was like overwhelming New York. You know what I'm saying? Just by the sheer numbers. So yeah.
Yeah. Damn. Thanks for breaking that down, man. I love hearing that history. I would love to talk about something else, speaking of things that have been in the news or whatever, mainly the hip hop and the YouTube streets lately, going back to the Zulu Nation. There has been a stain on them as of recent, a black eye, a bad look. All started from a man by the name of Hassan Campbell. I'm sure you know the name if you're on the YouTube streets. Being that you were part of the Zulu Nation, when this whole thing started coming out about Africa Bambaataa supposedly doing things to younger kids and things like that throughout the years, and you see, Hassan Campbell on camera, he just got shot like two weeks ago. He was in the Bronx yelling at some people in the projects, and when you see this whole thing from beginning to end, hindsight being 2020, it's not over yet. I'm sure Hassan is still going to be acting up, but what are your whole thoughts on that whole situation? Just being from the Bronx, I'm curious.
I mean, I feel like it's an unfortunate situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the Zulu Nation was a very powerful organization that, in my opinion, was very influential and positive in my life. You know what I'm saying? I remember going to a Zulu Nation meeting and bringing my stepfather. And my stepfather, at the end of the meeting, my stepfather was like, yeah, it's okay for y'all to join. That's a good organization. You know what I'm saying? And I thought to myself, so the Zulu Nation, in my opinion, was not a bad organization. You know what I'm saying? But it did provide protection when it was beef for drama. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it probably did have its violent moments. You know what I'm saying? So overall, the whole Hassan Campbell thing, I'm not going to lie, like, I just feel like that just put a very bad connotation around the Zulu Nation. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if it happened or didn't happen, but I've listened to Hassan Campbell, and I ain't going to lie, like, if he's lying, he's an incredible actor, because he seemed like that really happened. You know what I'm saying? And I can't deny if it did or didn't, but all I know is when I met African Bambaataa, you know what I'm saying, I didn't get those type of vibes from him, and but it was also in a very public setting. I didn't know him personally. You know what I'm saying? He was at the Zulu Nation meetings, but he seemed like a very respectable, humble guy. You know what I'm saying? But then again, you just never know nowadays. You know what I'm saying? But I do feel like that put a huge stain on the Zulu Nation and really kind of messed up their legacy, in my opinion. Because I other than this interview, I probably never told nobody I was in the Zulu Nation because of that. You know what I'm saying? And by the time Hassan came out with those allegations, the Zulu Nation really kind of died down. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, the Bloods took over a lot. So a lot of the people in the Zulu Nation also became Blood members too. You know what I'm saying? They converted from Zulu to being Blood or whatever other gang was going on. Because right now in New York, I feel like the two most popular gangs are the Bloods and the Crips. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. And
they've pretty much absorbed every other gang other than the Hispanic gangs that are out there, for the most part. So the Zulu Nation, by the time Hassan did that, it wasn't really as popular, and it wasn't as many people that was in it before. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like when he made those allegations, it kind of put the nail in the coffin for the Zulu Nation. And to me, that was a worldwide organization too. They wasn't just in New York.
Oh, we had chapters here in California, bro, all the way up from LA to San Francisco.
So that's what I'm saying, and you don't really hear nothing about the Zulu Nation now. Like, you know what I'm saying? A step for like, hip hop. I mean, stuff for like old school hip hop, dancing and battling and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
I want to kind of dive into mental health a little bit, because I feel like that's something, and I know we kind of touched on it in the past, but it's something that I want to keep talking about throughout the year. how did you deal with the fact, that you would, first of all, be spending possibly the rest of your life in prison? Mentally, how did that affect you? And have you ever seen, people, just lose it behind bars because they can't deal with the fact that they will be spending a huge amount of their time in jail or prison?
Right. So for me, the mental aspect of it is that in the early stages, after I got found guilty and went back to federal prison before I started the life sentences, I was optimistic.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I'll beat this on appeal. I'll get my case overturned and I'll go home. And then I finished my Fed time and came down to the state, to Tracy. And they shipped me straight to Pelican Bay from there, from the reception center. And then that's when it really set in, like, this is going to be a lot more challenging than I thought. But I was still optimistic. I was still on direct appeal, working my case. And before I left Pelican Bay, I realized that I wasn't going to win this on appeal. It was not going to get turned over. And I was going to possibly spend the rest of my life in state prison, right? And so I just had to stay focused on something that I can do that's positive. My mind turned to, what can I do if I'm going to be in life for the rest of my life? I'm going to be in prison. What can I do in here to take care of myself and possibly take care of my family, or leave them something when I'm gone, some kind of financial stability or whatever, right? So that's when I really got down on my first novel. And I spent the next 5 years just submerged in putting that novel together until the point where I got somewhere where I can actually execute on the business end of it. And once I found that, my mental health skyrocketed back up because I felt like, okay, I found a way. I've got something positive to contribute to the world. I can make this lucrative endeavor for myself and for others. And this is all I got right now, but there'll be more later. And so I had to just find my thing. For me, that was writing. That was one of the things that pulled me out of the abyss. As far as others, I remember when there was a time when I was in Centinela, right, back in like 2012, and there was a Native American guy. I think he worked in like the program office or something like that. Cool people and stuff. I used to holler at him here and there, get things done, whatnot. Then he transferred. And shortly after he transferred, maybe a couple months later, somebody said that, yeah, he was dead. I was like, what? They was like, yeah, he hung himself. And I'm like, huh? Like, he didn't seem like the type. He didn't seem like he was really going through anything. He seemed just as normal as anybody else under the circumstances. It just blew my mind back that people can be walking around me on the brink of suicide and I not even know that. You know what I mean? And so it just made me more aware of me, what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking. And I even reached out to get some help, you know what I mean, and start going to see the resident psychologist periodically to just get a mental health checkup, you know what I mean, and have that documented that, I'm getting through this.
I asked that question because I want to lead into a big story that's been happening. And I know you love hip hop as much as I do. And there's a great musician out here, rapper named XXXTentacion. He was from Florida. He was very big. I don't know if you're familiar with the story, but he was murdered in Florida about 5 years ago. Does that name ring a bell to you?
Yeah. Absolutely. I read up on him.
Nice. Okay, cool. Well, good. I'm glad that'll make this. I would love your point of view on this. So the trial has been going on for the past month or so. And just as the recording of this, just a few days ago, the people who killed him were found guilty. All four of them. One person turned, and told on everybody. And he was the first to take the stand. But that being said, they're most likely going to be spending the rest of their life in prison. Take yourself back to when you were in their shoes. What are they going through mentally right now, knowing that they took a man's life for less than $12,000 each, split up between them, and now they're going to prison for it?
I mean, for each person it's different. For me, by the time I came up against this life sentence, right, I had already been to prison, In fact, I was coming down from federal prison, so it wasn't my first rodeo. You know, somebody coming in, especially a young person, 17, 18, and you get hit with all of that time like that, it's undescribable. I can't even, it's something that you have to experience that you don't want to experience because it's the worst experience of your absolute life. Just thinking about the fact that more than likely I'm going to spend the rest of my life in here, and the chances are that I'm going to die from illness, old age, or violence in prison. And as a young person, I noticed that a lot of the young guys, they really don't feel it until they get older, until they get into their 30s and 40s and their kids have grown up without them. The people in their lives have moved on. The parents and older generation has died out. Once you start getting into your 40s and crossing over into your 50s, that's when it really hits that life is too short. In those early stages, a lot of guys just running amok. They come in here full of anger and vinegar, and they just, they go wild, buck wild, run up their points, 200 points, 300 points, stuck on those level 4s. And then as the years go on, it sets in that, wow, this is a bad situation.
What about the mental aspect? And I want to go back to you now. What about the mental aspect from your family's point of view? Have they ever shared with you, I'm just throwing it, your mother, your wife, have they ever shared with you throughout the years how it was mentally affecting them? And maybe you could help some people out there who are going through, what they had to go through all these years?
The hardest part for me was the first time I would talk to one of my...
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
The first time I would talk to one of my cousins that I grew up with, the cousins that's immediate, and I hadn't talked to them in years, decade or more. They hadn't talked to me my whole time down. And the first time they heard my voice, they were cracking the tears, male and female. This happened at least 3 different times with 3 different cousins. It was too much just hearing my voice and them saying, man, you ain't gonna never get out of here. You gotta get out of here. And then they started in with the scripture and all of that. It hits them harder than it hits me. That right there is numbing. It just makes you realize that, man, I really messed up my life and I messed up other people's life. And it just, agony.
Now, this is always a touchy subject because religion is so important to people. But is it safe to say you changed your name to Ali, correct?
Right.
Okay. What is your religion?
So I'm a Muslim.
Okay.
I've been Muslim. Ramadan starts in the morning. We saw the halal moon tonight. So Ramadan starts tomorrow. This would be my 17th Ramadan in a row. So in other words, I've been Shahada Muslim for 17 years. And that is really what raised me out of the darkness of despair, is just being able to be around positive people, to get into the Word, to get to know God as I understand Him, and to really just reposition myself in this life.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Bronx, I have OG Steve. What up, dude?
What's good?
Man, can't complain, dude. Let them know exactly what part of the Bronx you're from, man. Represent.
All right, so I'm from the Northeast Bronx, Alton Avenue, where I was born and raised.
Well, dude, glad to have you back on. Like I said, man, we go back and forth. You send me a lot of videos, and I've been stacking them up, because I wanted to save them for our show, man. A lot of stuff going on in New York. New York is experiencing a lot of the stuff that California, specifically Los Angeles, has been experiencing. Yeah,
I would kind of say New York and LA are kind of like coastal cousins. Like when we deal with the same policies from the same type of politicians, and we also have the same, prior to that, we have like the same afflictions in our city where it's, people dealing with poverty and, job scarcity and, and now obviously we got mental illness out there and obviously people with drug issues as well.
But yeah, I would say New York and LA. I would say, yeah, well, I would, of course, the coastal cousins.
Yeah, for sure.
Deal with a lot of the same stuff. So.
That's definite. That's definite. Well, let's talk about some of the things. I guess the first thing would be the migrant situation. Now, I'm in Los Angeles. I'm 100 and something miles from the Mexico border. So we've been experiencing this for years, decades. I mean, this has been an issue as long as I've been alive and before I was alive. But now other cities are starting to experience it. Chicago, certain cities in New York, or New York City is starting to experience it. And other places that didn't have this migrant situation, migrant problem, if you will. A lot of the times they would just keep them in California, keep them in Texas, but now they're taking them all throughout the country, and a lot of people in New York aren't too happy, especially with the fact that a lot of migrants are getting credit cards. They're taking kids out of schools to house the migrants. They are putting migrants up in hotels to house them. A lot of people think, hey, man, we have a homeless problem here. Can we get a few bucks for the homeless people? Maybe shoot black people a few bucks for reparations. These are just some of the talking pieces that everybody's been discussing. But what's OG Steve's, thoughts, comments on the migrant situation, especially in New York City? I would love to know what you're experiencing.
Well, I think, like New York has always kind of been like a mostly immigrant city. The majority of the people that are here, we all come from a generation or two off the boat from somewhere for the most part, at least like 3/4, I would say, the city. You know what I mean? So, but I would just say in New York, the problem is we've always, like I said, we've always had immigrants. Although I would say a lot of the prior immigration, there might have been a lot of people coming, but it was still done through like Ellis Island back in the day. So you would have people come, but then there was a lot of immigrants coming, but they would come legally. Now it's because they don't have records on the person and nothing like that. I think that might be one of the bigger problems. Another thing is, especially in New York, and especially with the last few mayors, I would say, not with all the Democratic mayors, but like the last few that do get into office, it's like they'll try to shoot something out there, but they don't think the whole thing through. So, it's like Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, was like, he was talking this stuff to the guy from Texas or whatever, but then he didn't have no backup plan if these people were to come to New York. You know what I mean? And we've already got, we've got tons of regular citizens that need whatever resources we got. Then we got the legal immigrants, the people trying to become legal. And we got obviously we got homeless people that are from everything to veterans to regular, everyday Joe Schmo or also immigrant homeless as well. So I just think they didn't really think it totally through. In Chicago too, they're kind of a city that's known for having a lot of immigrants too. But I think they're just used to immigrants coming a certain typical way, from a particular, way of getting there or whatever. And then they probably usually take a while to get to like Chicago, especially because it's kind of like in the middle of the country. Whereas New York, California, Florida, anything up across the eastern or western seaboards, it's we're going to get immigrants, but so I just think they didn't have no plan for it. So now you just have we had a whole bunch of regular homeless people and old veterans to everything now, and then now we have a bunch of people from a bunch of different countries with no identification here, and some of them are going into these 5-star hotels, and then sometimes they're overloaded. So then you see people sleeping out on the street, the migrants, the homeless people that have already been here, so it's just getting a little crazy with that, And again, I just think like the less you made, they didn't figure out a lot of stuff in New York, but this is, he didn't have a plan, Eric Adams. He just said, he wanted to get tough with this guy from Texas, but he didn't have a backup plan, so.
Yeah, that's true, man. What are some of the, maybe not necessarily your thoughts, but what are some of the things you're hearing on the ground, on the streets, from New York residents who are experiencing the same thing that you're experiencing, seeing migrants sleep outside, seeing migrants being put up in hotels, seeing migrants get credit cards? What are some of the things you're hearing, good, bad, from other people out there in New York?
Well, I mean, I hear from all around. So I would say, you know, they're not so much. I don't see the migrants that much in the Bronx. It's actually more, I would say, more or less in Manhattan. Although they'll be living in different neighborhoods dispersed out the 5 boroughs. But you know, I think it's more up in your face in Manhattan because they're on blocks that were kind of like, you know, the rich, wealthy, Wall Streety kind of blocks, and all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of people sleeping out there. You know, whereas in the Brooklyn, the Bronx, and stuff like that, we always had our homeless people, so they just might have like gradually added to them, or if they were able to get the, you know, the cars or the money or whatever, they were able to get some apartments, you know, some kind of housing or something like that. So, you know, I mean, I know one of the concerns is with that, whatever that Venezuelan gang's name is, something de Aqua.
Okay,
you know, basically, yeah. So I mean, yeah. So the migrants, you know, you got everybody coming, but apparently there's a gang from South America called Centro de Aqua or something like that. I think I'm pronouncing it right. And a lot of what they're doing in New York, I don't know about other cities, is they're doing a lot of robberies of, like, you know, the old ladies and the women and the young girls and stuff like that, and then breaking into cars and stuff like that. So I know, of course, you know, it don't matter what culture, what demographic, what whatever. Nobody's really with their mother or their wife or their daughter or their grandmother getting robbed, you know, or waking up every day and their car radios out. So I know there's the beginnings of hostilities, I would say, between just regular New Yorkers and like that group, not necessarily the migrants in general. Then you got other people in New York as far as getting resources. It's kind of hard, and they make you run through a whole bunch of hoops and different things, even if you legitimately qualify for a lot of these benefits. So, you know, I think New Yorkers in general, if they're like, it's so hard for us to get it, then but now people are coming here, not even born here. You know, you don't know where they're from, if their ID, their real name or nothing.
Right.
And they're getting more resources than the people that have lived in New York for God knows how long, and the people that have came here legally. You know.
Yeah, man.
So you got that going on.
We're here out here in LA. The homeless situation has just exploded, dog. When I say exploded, I've never in my life seen this many homeless people in Los Angeles, just everywhere, bro. It used to be back in the day we had Skid Row. Everybody knew Skid Row, and that's where all the homeless was. You know what I mean? There was some sprinkled out throughout the city, of course, but now there's Skid Rows all over Los Angeles. Is it safe to say that New York is experiencing that same type of situation?
Well, I would say yeah, but more in Manhattan. I would say I guess the 5 boroughs, we have our areas where besides you know, the shelters, you might have some areas where homeless people might be living, you know, but I think it's just more up in your face in Manhattan because, you know, they got less little parks and different things where people could sleep or kind of hide. So you're just seeing, you know, walking in front of Waldorf Astoria, and there's like a bunch of homeless people sleeping outside. You're like, wait, what's going on over here? You know?
Yeah.
But, you know, like in the Bronx, I know, you know, homeless people would be in either in shelters or sometimes parks. I know one time I was working at a place when I was doing catering, and it was inside of a park in the Bronx. And I went to go walk to the bus stop, and it was a big park. This lady came out of the bushes, like I didn't even notice her. She came out barefoot or whatever, and I was like, then that's when I realized that park was kind of big and there was a lot of people living there. But it wasn't so much like out in your face. I think Manhattan is experiencing more of a surge, you know, and I guess they have less places to put them or something. But, you know, we do have a lot of homeless, you know, but it's not as, I would say, visually new or anything like that, you know, I would say the Bronx at least. Gotcha. You know, where I would say, oh, you know, it increased over here, and not, you know, you would just see an area where sometimes you would see homeless people, like I said, sometimes around parks or buildings, or shelters or different places where they might be.
Yeah. Now, give us a general idea. Is it safe to say that the Bronx, and obviously forgive me if I'm wrong, but is the Bronx the furthest borough from downtown Manhattan?
Yeah, I believe so, because we're like we're the borough like in the North Bronx especially is on the border of Westchester, which is like another part of New York. Like you go in, like I guess you could say we're the most northern borough, you know. And then the north part of the Bronx, of course, is even more northern. So it's right up there near Mount Vernon, Yonkers, Nourishville, depending on what part of the Bronx you're in. So I mean, I know there's a park in the Bronx that you ride along there, and you'll be from the Bronx to Nourishville in just a few minutes. You know, there's other parts where you just cross over a street in your car or walking or whatever, and now you're in Mount Vernon or whatever. So downtown Manhattan is a distance from us.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the line from Northside Long Beach, I have Sleepy. What up, man?
What's good with you? What's good with you, man? Appreciate you having me on. Enjoy your content, man. Keep doing your thing.
Most def, man. Appreciate you joining the show. And I know you have a podcast you and one of your partners are working on. We're definitely going to get into that later, but I want to take it all the way back, man. I want to get to know Sleepy, get to know your life and all that. So let's go all the way back to the beginning. Give everybody a breakdown of where you grew up.
Wow. I have to go back into the memory bank. First off, man, I grew up on the north side of Long Beach. My hood is called Boulevard Mafia Crip. And it's kind of a unique situation because I gravitated to the homies from Compton. So I read Compton, but at the same time, it's Boulevard over everything. And as far as my younger childhood, that was kind of like, you know, crazy because I spent 9 years in foster home, in and out of juvenile halls. I was in McCarran Hall. I actually got a lawsuit against them. So it was kind of crazy until my mom settled down in North Long Beach.
Okay. You know, talk to me about foster care. What was that? I'm assuming it was a rough time, but can you give us your experience being in the foster system?
You know, yeah, it's crazy. Me and my sister, her name is Tanya. She's 3 years older than me, and we first got put into a foster home when I was 3 years old. And I have a vivid memory of what do they call them? The social workers taking us to the foster home that was in Palmdale, actually Lino, next to Little Rock, California. And I remember being in a car at 3 years old, crying, not wanting to go into the house or whatever, wanting to go back home to my mom. And he was like trying to convince me to come in. I was throwing a tantrum. And I took off all my clothes in the car. I'm like, I ain't going nowhere, you know. But you know what? For those 9 years that I stayed with my foster family, and their name was Bill and Susan Smith, I couldn't ask for anything more. Actually, kind of wish I would have stayed because, you know, I would have been more on a productive and positive path in my future. But that experience with them was lovely. Now, when we get into placements, boys' homes, McCarran Hall, that's when the story starts to get kind of like, you know, crazy.